It's difficult, when you're a sex symbol. It is. How dare you laugh? What do you think? Of course, you know, I mean, years ago, when you think about it, I could have been the Milky Bar Kid. You remember? You do remember the Milky Bar Kid? Do you remember that? I actually went in for a competition once to try and become the Milky Bar Kid. I didn't realise most of them came from drama schools. Mortified. But yes, back to being a sex symbol. Tricky time, for men as sex symbols now. It's funny, isn't it? How when you think about it, they've done away with all those beautiful swimsuit rounds and those wonderful things like Miss Universe, Miss World, all of that sort of stuff. But, it's still okay to ogle good looking men. Are you ogling? Or is it just the way you sat? Yes, I can see. But what's interesting here is over in France, a particular individual has become, shall we say, ooh la la, all thanks to His Majesty the King. As ever, let me explain. Hi, good morning. How are you? Nice to see you as ever. And thank you so much for joining me today. Welcome, one and all brand new subscribers. I tell you what's interesting also is the sort of conversation we had about the chat shows and how they're not coming back or coming back, depending on which you believe. I don't know about you. I don't blame the chat show hostesses like Jennifer Hudson and Drew Barrymore. There just is not the interesting people around anymore. I don't care about these influencers and too many people that have had micro careers. It's the big names that you wanted. How many big names truly are there now when you think about it like that? Difficult, isn't it, to fill airtime? Do you know what I'm saying? Back as ever, though, to your story of the day. This, as I say, is a man who's created an absolute storm over in France. That is because, a bit like me, is an international sex symbol, whatever. We're talking Major Johnny, of course. He has been by His Majesty the King's side alongside Queen Camilla, who I have to agree has been looking incredibly stunning on this particular tour. Makeup exquisite, hair. And when people say it's dismissive, it's not. Women of a certain age like to look at that. They get inspired by that. I think Camilla looks great. Back to Major Johnny, though. He has been, this is a true story, by the way. Lots and lots of people have been writing in and mentioning him on international television shows over in France because they want to know who's the hot guy with King Charles, right? Must be a bit galling for the king, don't you think? Because he would have been the hot guy like 30 years ago, wouldn't he? 40 years ago, whatever. No, you see, it's moved on. Now, as we know, Major Johnny is a bit of a delicious find for so many ladies out there, including our late and wonderful monarch, Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II, who basically said she liked being seen with Major Johnny because, of course, he was good for the crowds and she knew he was a good looking guy. And, she kind of got on incredibly well with him. We saw it on so many occasions. But nobody could have foreseen just how popular Major Johnny could be. What's interesting here, though, is, as we've told you many times before, no one inside the royal courtier palaces, whatever you want to call it, can decide what to do, whether they should put out some postcards, whether they should have, there's letters turning up for him literally every day at Windsor Castle, Kensington Palace, all wanting to know more about Major Johnny and possibly getting a signature. But so far, they're reluctant to capitalise on that. How long before somebody starts bootlegging T-shirts and postcards and stuff like that, lampshades, all with Major Johnny on? And really, you can't stop it. And quite frankly, the ladies of France, absolutely, including President Macron's wife, were incredibly taken by the dashing good looks of a man who is literally standing behind, at the side and forefront of the King and Queen. Not a bad job, is it? News shown in the very heart of London.